Good evening, you're watching NewsX. My name is Devika Chopra. Top focus continues to be the assassination attempt against former US President Donald Trump. There is a bloody history of presidential assassination attempts, and Donald Trump on Saturday has joined a long list of former holders of the office of the United States of America who have been threatened with violence. 4 US presidents have been assassinated, including Abraham Lincoln, James A. Garfield, William McKinley, and John F. Kennedy. 3 more, including Donald Trump, have been injured in attacks. Other presidents have also been subjects of assassination plots that were not carried out, usually because the would-be assassins' plans were identified before they were executed. The last US president to have been injured in an assassination attempt, Ronald Reagan, was shot outside a hotel in Washington, D.C. in March 1981, shortly after taking office. Gerald Ford was the target of 2 high-profile attempts on his life in the span of 18 days. There is a clear history of political violence in the United States of America. There is a clear history and presence of gun violence in the United States of America. Just a day before the Republicans are set to choose their presidential and vice presidential candidates for the upcoming elections of 2024, to choose the next president of the United States of America, we have once again witnessed an assassination attempt, this time against a presidential candidate, Donald Trump, who has also served as president of America earlier. What does this really mean? What really is the conversation that is now going to formulate the course of the next 4 months until the people of America gather to cast their votes on the 5th of November? We take this conversation forward. I have with me Ambassador Veena Sikri, former diplomat, Major General Sudhakarji also with us on the broadcast. I have with me Alok Bansal, foreign affairs expert, and Vail Awadh, senior journalist, also joining us on the broadcast. Let me take this conversation forward with Ambassador Veena Sikri. Master Sikri, what did you make of the fact that there has been an assassination attempt against Donald Trump? Because it does come at a very interesting juncture as far as American politics is concerned. The Democrats have their own problems that they continue to face ever since the first presidential debate took place, where Joe Biden was not being able to really hold his ground, as what analysts have said. And there has been a lot of trouble as far as Joe Biden convincing the Democrats or even the people of America is concerned that he is the man to lead them in the next 4 years. One day before the Republicans are set to choose their presidential candidate, there is an assassination attempt against Donald Trump. What do you make of what has happened, and how do you feel this will now impact US politics?
Well, first of all, this is an extremely serious, dangerous, and unprecedented situation where the Republican nominee for the nomination, it's going to be held tomorrow, as you said, has been shot at. It raises a million questions about the situation, the political situation within the USA, the extreme polarization of the population, of the political agenda, of the political parties, of the 2 major political parties, of the individual candidates. And it certainly points to a very dangerous effort to remove the leading political candidate from the scene altogether. I think the questions that need to be asked is, first of all, to look into it and see how did this happen. Now, for example, there are discussions that a bystander, a witness at the scene of the crime, saw the sniper on the roof and went to the security service or to some other local police agency saying that there is a sniper, there is somebody on the roof, please see who it is. And nobody listened to him, nobody paid attention. And a few minutes later, the shot happened. Then, for example, there is talk and rumors about who was this person. This person was just a 20-year-old. There is no news at all from the family or the father of the person. The father of the person has said, I will not speak until I have spoken to the law enforcement agencies. Otherwise, there are all kinds of rumors about this individual 20-year-old just graduated from high school with a very great award in mathematics. Originally, somebody says he's registered as a Republican, so that has led to all kinds of conspiracy theories. The other person says that no, he is, even before registering as a Republican, he has contributed to a democratic rallying group which got people together to vote for the Democratic Party. The question arises, where did this individual learn his skills in shooting? Because he missed the presidential candidate, former President Donald Trump, by a whisker, by less than a millimeter. I mean, actually, the bullet whizzing past actually grazed his ear, and there's actually hurt in the upper right ear. So this raises such serious questions about the political situation. There are others who are saying that the Democrats had been working themselves up into a frenzy about the candidature of President Donald Trump. They had sued him. They had, got a number of cases against him. They had tried to take him off the ballot. They had tried to disqualify him because of 6 January 2020 events. All kinds of political movements were afoot, and the Department of Justice is being blamed for what they're doing. So the situation is very volatile. What it is, one has to now get into the bottom of it as to why it happened and who was this person. How did he get the skills? What is the weapon that he was using? Nobody's even talking about these things. Where did he acquire that weapon? Where was the weapon purchased? All these questions, there are a million questions, but I would say that it has created a tremendous rift in the campaigning structure within the USA. Of course, many are saying that it will be something that President Trump will now get a huge wave of sympathy votes for himself. It's something that has shown, as you have yourself said, how many previous presidents have been shot at in America, how many previous presidential candidates have been shot at in America, and how many people, additional presidents have been attempted to be shot at, attempted to be killed, but those attempts did not succeed. So it is a reflection of the violent nature of the society in America. The gun control laws are, as many say, completely out of control, but there is no effort to put any kind of controls on these gun control laws. So I would say that it's something that we have to watch, but it is a shocking, dastardly act which needs to be condemned roundly. And certainly the political environment within the country that is being created is such as to have provoked this kind of an attempt.
Absolutely. I'm going to come back to you in just a moment, man. Let me bring in our next voice as well into the conversation. Major Sudhakarji also with us. Major Sudhakarji, just the same question from you as well. I just want to understand, given the sort of juncture at which this assassination bid has taken place, do you feel that this could possibly lead to a conversation about gun violence in America, or will this continue to be a political conversation about whether Donald Trump has emerged a hero from this assassination bid? The reason why I ask that is because just a few days back, Joe Biden spoke about gun violence. He said that the Democrats are the only party that are committed to banning guns in America, whereas Donald Trump or the Republicans will never go against the gun lobby in the United States of America. So do you feel that this somewhere could put the Republicans on a back foot also, that it could push people to ask more serious questions about the gun laws in the United States of America? And as Ambassador Sikri pointed out, there are important questions that nobody seems to be answering. Who really this young man was, who was the assassin, where did he procure this gun from, and also the skill that is required to carry out the sort of assassination attempt the way he did.
Devika, good evening. Thank you for getting me to your show, and I compliment the Ambassador ma'am for very eloquent and I would say apt articulations on the subject. She deserves to have the last say on the discussion today. However, since you asked me a question, let me respond to you in a very brief and concise manner. The answer to your question is both. When I say both, part A, yes, you are right. Part B, you are right. So allow me to dilate what I mean by that. Today, as I look at this particular incident in USA, my understanding and research indicates that the serious vulnerability of United States of America as a superpower has been exposed once again. This should be rightfully a turning point in the 21st century. How many times the former president of America have been subjected to such kind of assassination? Former president I'm talking of, and campaigning for a future leadership. This is perhaps, to my understanding, this is for the first time it has happened, and that too in 21st century. And how many years back can we look to find another assassination attempt? Maybe in the 20th century, I don't see, except for John Kennedy. In 1963, I've been to Dallas myself. I've seen the spot where he was assassinated. He was knocked down on the turning point of the road itself. So basically, what does it highlight? It highlights a couple of issues. First and foremost is that the internal stability, law and order, and the rules-based governance that the superpower has been claiming and lecturing others is at a very weak point. Number one, sooner they realize, better it is. Number two, it's high time that USA as a superpower needs to introspect and find the serious fault lines. Number three, the gun culture article serial 5 or the article schedule 5 in the constitution, to my limited understanding, Devika, there are very far and few people who can change. And like you articulated in your preamble, that Donald Trump is the one who's against it, or the Republicans are the one. But I have read and also heard Donald Trump, maybe in a loser movement, he has articulated that he will change this culture. He will take very, very premeditated, determined effort to revisit this particular clause. He will bring the gun culture. I have heard people talking in Texas. I've been there in Austin, in Dallas. So these are contradictions. Today, the complete society, inter and intra relations within USA is divided, polarized. It may not be as intense and as serious as I am indicating. Things are still hanging out. It may be a declining power, but it will continue to remain as a superpower, and we want the stability to retain and remain in an extended manner. Last but not the least, Devika, is that the very issue, 400 feet away from the rostrum, there are a couple of issues coming to my mind straight away. The assassination attempts and the assassination on the president of USA so far, I'm talking about America, to my understanding, this is for the first time the static target has been actually aimed at. Rest all have been either movement, either they were traveling or they were moving. And a static target of Donald Trump at 400 feet. Any military man would apply himself in a limited manner and come to a conclusion there has been a complacency, there is a laxity in the job performed by the people who are responsible. There are supposed to be the inner core sanitization, intermediate level of sanitization at a particular distance. 400 feet by all standards should come within the range in which the small arms have effective range. They can knock off any target. I'm really shocked and surprised as to how this particular person could manage to penetrate into the periphery of this particular assembly and took a pot shot at the former president. This is the second and moot question which is actually rising, which USA, if they have to take it up seriously, must address. Last but not the least, I would like to actually highlight one very important aspect. The aspect of internal and the external conspiracy. Let's not rule out the geopolitical situation the world over is going through a huge churn and turbulence. And turbulence where I say everything, anyone speaking anywhere outside the USA has got a direct and indirect bearing about the stability of the country inside. Therefore, it is very, very important to look back and be mindful of the principles and the parameters or the imperatives which Donald Trump has actually adhered to and applied himself during his previous tenure. He had pulled out from most of the global organization. He had also threatened, he is threatening now that the NATO has to increase the defense percentage rate of expenditure in the defense. He is threatening that the transatlantic relationship may be a big question mark in times ahead if they don't actually meet the deadlines that he is outlining. He is also the one person who is knocking the door of isolating and containing China effectively. He is also one person who has assured the world that once he is back to power, the Russia-Ukraine war will come to an end for good. So these are the issues which perhaps to me is raising the stakes and putting him in a high threshold of competitiveness. If that be so, then maybe perhaps there could be an internal conspiracy, because the Article 5 is very, very potentially dangerous. If it is changed, the gun industry is connected to it.
Yes.
The economy which is booming in USA at all is because of the gun industry. The whole economy is going to come to a standstill. It has been surviving this particular because of the clause which actually gives an entitlement to every citizen of America to possess more than one weapon for self-defense. So they have to take a call whether to look down within, introspect, identify the serious fault lines. Not only this, the value system is undergoing change. If they wish to continue as a superpower, perhaps the America First policy of Donald Trump is going to work good. Back to you, Devika.
Okay, all right. Well, Avadh, bring you into the conversation. Well, Avadh, I want to understand from you, how do you view the impact that this assassination bid could have on the days to come and the politics of the United States of America? Because ever since the video has come out, the photographs have come out, there does seem to be quite a shift in conversation also on social media. Several people have started talking about how those who were probably not really thinking of backing Donald Trump seem to be changing their mind. Do you feel that this could possibly have a huge impact on the election results?
I think you partly answered the questions, because yes, it has a very huge sympathetic wave now pro-Trump in the United States, which we will be seeing in the coming elections campaign. And you can see that the people are very angry at this incident, though it might not be surprising for many of our people. And following the election in the United States, for the last few months, we have seen lots of, political hatred speeches and calling Trump as Hitler, and even calling that the Nazis are coming back. So there is a hatred in both the camp, and we could expect that there will be a killing squad in any side to attack the American candidates. So therefore, I believe this is the culmination of the political hatreds that they have been, propagating throughout the campaign. And we have seen that there has to be an end. I fully agree with the previous speakers that it has to be endorsed, a banning of the arms in the United States, where we could see lots of killing also, whether it is a killing spree in the schools or whether it's the street, or anybody can carry even machine guns, where it is only used for a compact battle operations, not even in the normal human being that should be carrying a civilian. So I think the arm industry still control the political outlook of the United States, and no American president will be there to address these issues and ban it completely. But having said that, I would say currently Trump will definitely benefit a lot. If you look at the way he have waved to the public, the way he was defiant in answering and still standing strong, these are all issues, especially in modern media and with the social platforms. I think he will gain popularity more than expected. And the condemnation has been following Deepika from all over the world. And I think this is not going to change the history of the United States, because we have seen, according to the chronology of the attack, on different presidents. But I will draw lines here, which we should understand. The current situation in West Asia and the total killing and carnage happening in Gaza should equally also generate sympathy in the world, that killing of any human being, any civilian, is condemnable.
Absolutely. I want to bring in Alok Bansal as well. Alok Bansal, as far as the psychology of Donald Trump, or the way he has gone about the entire attempt, it is very interesting to note. I mean, he was very quick to react on the stage. Right when he felt the bullet graze his right ear, he ducks. He's very, very quick to react. And then he stands up with the Secret Service agents. He's brought down, and you can still hear him on the stage. He's saying, wait, let me get my shoes. I need to wear my shoes. And then he takes another moment to look at the crowd, and he raises his fist. What message has gone out today then to the people of America who are gearing up to cast their vote?
See, firstly, let me begin with it. And I personally feel that the type of polarization that we are seeing in the United States today is unparalleled in recent times. I'm not trying to say US has never been polarized. We have had a civil war, but in recent decades, we have never seen this sort of polarization as has been witnessed over the last 5-6 years. And with that sort of polarization and the easy availability of guns that exist in the US, this sort of an incident was anticipated, if not expected. And well, President Trump was fortunate because I think he bent forward and the bullet grazed his ears. And of course, being a true politician, he raised his fist, said fight also, and I think did all that was required, and which is, I think, required. But it would generate undoubtedly a huge sympathy wave for the Republicans and especially Donald Trump. But we need to be very clear that as long as United States cannot get over this free availability of arms, which is consequent to the Second Amendment to the US Constitution, the Bill of Rights, that is, which says right to bear arms. And unless, of course, it is amended in accordance with the Article 5 of US Constitution, which allows constitutional amendments, we will keep seeing this sort of a thing. Because in US, anyone can buy these sophisticated weapons, anybody can move around with them, there's no restrictions on that. And the type of close political contests that we are seeing, we saw that presidential candidates would be required to have too many rallies, too many meetings, and in most of them, you don't find too much of distance between the speaker and the audience. I think even in this particular rally, based on what the photos, etc., I have been seeing, it seemed that the person was very close to him. Now, this gentleman who was the assassin, Thomas Matthew, 20-year-old white boy, that's an impressionable age, and that is the age at which people can be influenced to do anything. In fact, we have seen in the past also terrorist organizations, radical organizations have invariably influenced tender minds, the people of tender age. And it is for this reason that there needs to be certain amount of restriction on guns. And I think when we talk of guns, I think Republicans are there to blame because the Rifle Association and the rifle lobby is so strong. The arms lobby in US is so strong and so close to the Republican administration that despite many precedents in the past trying to curtail or control the availability of arms, they have not been able to do so. So unless, of course, we manage to do this, I think this sort of a situation will exist, this sort of a Damocles sword will exist. A lot of people are blaming the security agencies, the intelligence agencies for failing to identify or pick up the assassin well in time. The fact is that assassin was sighted by one of the snipers who actually neutralized him, but by then he had already fired. Could it have been done earlier? There are reports that somebody had already reported about him. But these are issues which will keep getting debated. But now that the assassin has been eliminated, there will always remain some conspiracy theories, as happened in the case of Lincoln or it happened in the case of Kennedy, because the assassin is not there and you will never get to know the true story. So there will always be people who will keep concocting stories, and this will continue. And this particular elections, which as and when it is contested, will be contested in the backdrop of this assassination attempt, and this will have an impact on the next US presidential election.
Okay, Ambassador Sikri, same question from you, ma'am. I just want to understand from you, as far as the visuals are now concerned, what message has been sent out to the people of America by Donald Trump today with the way he has handled himself throughout this assassination bit?
I think he has handled himself very well, very bravely. And I think that the people of America are in total shock at this incident. But I must say that the solution has to come from within America itself. And it has to come from within the people of America, who have to express their disgust and non-acceptance of such a situation and have to rally together to overcome it. Already we have seen, for example, that some of America's leading business community members have rallied together and expressed their shock of the situation, that they do not accept that such a situation can continue. And of course, they have also expressed their support for President Trump, the way in which he conducted himself, the way in which he reacted in a courageous, brave, and invincible manner. We have had statements from Elon Musk, who has expressed his support and his shock that such a thing has happened. We have statements from Satya Nadella, from Sundar Pichai, from Jeff Bezos. All these business community leaders have already come and put out very senior, very unequivocal statements about this situation. And I think that all civil society leaders in America from both sides of the political spectrum have to come out and express their disgust and non-acceptance of such a situation, where one day before the Republican convention, this attempt has been made to eliminate the leading candidate from the scene. And it's an act of God. I mean, actually, Vivek Ramaswamy, who's also a Republican leader, and he was one of the contenders earlier, but now he's supporting Trump. He described it as an act of God that President Trump escaped from this attempt by an absolute whisker, by an absolute margin of less than a millimeter. And I think that I would say that I would look forward to the people of the USA, the political leaders from both sides of the political spectrum, the civil society leaders, the business leaders, corporate figures, all coming together and saying this cannot continue, this polarization cannot continue. We must allow a civil political debate. We must allow the political spectrum to continue without any violence, and a successful election be held in November on schedule.
All right, same question from Major Sudhakar Jaili, the last word with you. So I just want to understand from you, what message do you feel has gone out to the people of America, especially, like I said, this has taken place at a very interesting juncture where the Democrats are finding themselves in a truly hard spot. Lots of people raising questions about Joe Biden's fitness, his age, and his overall ability to lead America for the next 4 years. What message has Donald Trump then sent out to the people when he has emerged within minutes after the assassination attempt? He seems to have processed it quite quickly, and then with his fist in the air, he's heard his last words are fight, fight, fight.
Devika, interesting question you have asked. I must compliment the previous speakers very notably. All of them have covered beautifully. But let me try and respond to your question at a global level, at a regional level, at a local level. At a global level, I think more than anything else, there is a very strong message which is going out. If you live in a glass house, do not throw stones at others. Stop lecturing others. It's about time that you introspect, look down within, and try and identify the fault lines which are widening, the gaps are widening, try and bridge them, try and narrow them down, make amends. If you do not prepare, then you will be actually, landing up and paying a very heavy price for the emerging kinds of needs of the environment. There are too many common challenges for the superpower to remain a superpower. The internal order has to be stabilized and put in place, one. Number two, regionally speaking, when I talk about the region, what I mean is the transatlantic relationship is at a very difficult stage. On the face of it, NATO may be behaving the way it has been projected by the optics in past couple of days. Internally speaking, none of them, without any exception, none of them are willing partners of this conflict, ongoing conflict between Russia and Ukraine. It is a self-created kind of a avoidable dilemma, which perhaps to my mind and understanding has been imposed on them because there are much more critical issues for livelihood, day-to-day life in Europe, without any exception. So the strategic autonomy for a country like France, which stood out historically, is under a big cloud, big question. The president himself is actually, dithering in his statement. Third and most important is I would say, the center of gravity of my response to your question. What is the message he's given? He is a bold man. He's a straightforward. He is also erratic in his behavior. But whatever he's done in his past tenure, perhaps that is to be taken as a reference point. And in that reference point, he has highlighted only one thing. Perhaps to my mind and understanding and research, he is the first leader of America who has given a deep insight to where America stands today as a superpower. He is the first leader to have made a clarion call. The time has come. America has to address its needs first. Therefore, the American concept of America first. He is the first leader. He's taken very bold decisions of pulling back. Wrong or right, I'll not contest. I'll not debate. He has pulled up from certain organizations, global outfits and entities, which he felt in his wisdom are detrimental to the interest of America. I'll not comment on hasty withdrawal from Afghanistan or pulling back from APEC organization or pulling back from TPP, etc., etc. There are many complicated issues or the issue with regard to the individual nation states in the European Union. But the fact remains that he is one person, perhaps to my mind and understanding, has steered his thought process and philosophy conceptually towards bringing America into a stabilized platform and retain the status of superpower at least till the middle, if not the end of the century. Back to you, Devika.
Absolutely. I thank all of our guests for joining us on the broadcast. That's all the time that we have, but we will continue to track developments as far as news from the United States of America is concerned. On that note, a very short break.